Hello, welcome to Lesson 3 of our Unit 6.1.2. So 6th grade, first module, second part, rates and proportions. Don't forget to fill out all of this stuff. This date, don't know why that's in there, but it is wrong. Whatever day that you're taking these notes, can you cross this off and put the correct date? Our essential question, or our I can statement, I can use proportions to find a missing value. Please pause and write that out. All right, a proportion. So we're going to be talking about proportions today, and actually we touched upon it in our last mini unit. A proportion is just, oh goodness, two ratios that are equal to each other. So some examples might be 1/2 and 5/10, or 2/3 and 4/6, where they're equal to each other. So just two equivalent fractions written in an equation. And it's an equation because it has that equal sign. So another way to think about this, I'm going to change colors here. Algebraically, A over B equals C over D. And what we know is that if we take our A times D, those are the means, that equals B times C, which the vocabulary for that is the extremes. So A times D equals B times C. And there are two different ways for solving a proportion. And solving a proportion means finding a missing value. In the last mini unit, you used proportions to see if two ratios were equal to each other. Now we're going to be focusing on finding a missing value. So there are two different ways. One way is just using equivalent fractions to solve proportions. So it's finding that missing number using multiplication or division. So this is what we were doing when we were finding our unit rate. 6 times 3, so what do you have to do to this denominator to get to the new denominator? I have to multiply it times 3, so I need to do the same thing up here. And notice how I'm showing my work. I really want you to do that. So 5 times 3 is 15. So M equals 5 times 3, which is 15. And we can check it by putting a 15 in here and then doing our cross multiplication like we did to check to see if these two values are equal. The second way, so that was equivalent fractions, the second way is actually using our cross multiplication. Multiplication to solve, or the butterfly method that we had talked about in the last mini unit. So we do our cross multiplication. So 2 times M is 2M, and 5 times 12, 12 times 10 is 50, and then 5 times 2 is 10. So this is going to equal 60. Yes, you can use a calculator. So at this point, we have an equation. So you need to think about 2 times what number gives us 60. So this is a pretty easy one because it works out nicely. That number is 30. So we know here m is going to be 30. However, there are going to be times when it doesn't work out so nicely. So we're going to fall back on something that we will learn about in an upcoming unit. But it's pretty easy. I think you learned it in 5th grade. If something is multiplied, you can work backwards to solve. So instead of 2 times m equals 60, you could do 60 divided by 2 equals m, those fact families. Either way, you end up with 30. All right, we only have 2 more examples. I would like you to pause and do these problems on your own. I'd like you to use cross multiplication for this one, and I would like you to use equivalent fractions for this one. Try out those 2 different ways, pause, and then come back to check your answers. Please try to do this on your own. All right, hopefully you really paused it, so welcome back. So I said please use cross multiplication for this one. So I did 3 times 12, which is 36, and 4 times s, which is 4s. Now there's a couple different ways to think about this at this point. We can think of fact families. So 36 equals 4 times s, therefore 36 divided by 4 equals s. So that working backwards idea. So we come up with 9. The other way, and we're going to practice this a lot this year, is 36 equals 4s. S is being multiplied by 4. So we want to divide by 4 to get rid of it. If it's divided, we multiply. So 36 divided by 4 is 9. So this one, so how did you do? Mark it wrong if you got it wrong. Write questions over here if you don't understand. The equivalent fraction way, 2 times 6 is 12. So since this is times 6, we need to do the same thing here. What number times 6 is 36? And hopefully you know this one right on the top of your head. 6 times 6 is 36. But if not, you can use that working backwards strategy. 36 equals r times 6. It's multiplied, so we have to work backwards by dividing. So r equals 6. All right, again, please write questions over here and then take a moment to write the summary of what you learned about practicing solving proportions by either using cross multiplication or equivalent fractions. Peace out.